having a long think about it, in fact, for this 4th pickup. Might be one of those scenarios where they just go for the Palos hero now on the 4th pick. And then just wait for the last pick for Raging's hero. I mean, I do kind of lean the way as well that it should be a mid Riki, because what does Riki IO do? You know, it's kind of...
Nothing.
Unless it's a POS 1 IO that we're looking at. Could be. Is it still good? I don't know. It's been such a long time. I imagine it's not.
Yeah. I don't think it hits the spikes you want it to. In that lane, it just takes so long for Riki IO as a duo to really get online compared to Tiny IO, just because you need levels on Tiny, that's it.
Yeah.
For Riki, you need right-click damage, so it takes some time to build in there. Execration really digging into the reserve. They go with the Sand King anyway. Okay. So it took them a lot longer, but it does come out. Sand King were on lane. Very scary. Raging Potato is special. We've talked about this for the last good minute or so. So it's a solid way to kind of handle whatever comes out from Fnatic on safe, whether or not that's the Riki or Tiny. Both of them are kind of going to be annoyed by the Burst Strike, the Sandstorm, the Arrow coming through from Mirana. Fnatic need to be ready to have a tough time on that safe lane spot and just kind of have to deal with it. You know, maybe try to match the aggression, get some early rotation. Heck, maybe even a tri-lane early while the Sand King doesn't have levels yet. Could be one way to just get started. Just get a fast kill, split the supports up afterwards, go from there.
Fnatic. 4th pickup now. I'm sure they know about the Sand King pick from Execration. It can be very rough to try and play into. They understand the lane as well. The Burrow Strike Arrow, pretty devastating. Again, I think you could run the Riki safe lane here just to have that kind of evasion with the tricks of the trade and the blink strikes to try and avoid getting that double stun. It's still kind of hard though to avoid it. Sometimes you just can't avoid it in general, especially if you get baited into using the tricks. They'll go for a Night Stalker pickup, something very different popping up here from Fnatic. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's good control, especially with the silence coming through. That's one way to kind of hold down the puck, and Mirana, you do lack that solid control for the puck specifically. So Night Stalker is going to be able to try to keep Bob in check. And that does raise the question now if Fnatic's actually going to go for a different sort of core, close out with, say, Tiny support here. Go with the Riki Night Stalker's core, something else on safer mid for Fnatic. They can kind of flex it around like that. Very open-ended draft for Fnatic. We're going to have to see. Execration seems to assume that's all the cores are on hand, so they're just banning supports. And we'll see if Fnatic sticks to that. Like, it does make sense to run Tiny, Riki, Night Stalker as your cores. I worry about scaling. If Execration just picks something for Paulus that's a very strong pause 1, scaling into the late, if you drag this game out, Fnatic might not be able to keep up in scaling. Like, Tiny to a certain extent does scale with his Ag Shard and the Aghanims as well. Riki does have good scaling, but they're not the big cores that tend to close out games for a lot of teams. So I'm keen to see if that's going to be what Fnatic line up for, and it does. They go with the Earth Spirit. They have a faster pace with these heroes.
They
need to make sure they don't drop the early game, right? Like, Earth Spirit on hand, Eye on hand, they have a lot of movement that can come through. They need to get that done early and stop Execration from running away with their Sand King puck.
I mean, I love the draft. It's going to be a very exciting draft here to watch from Fnatic. Like, you look at that maybe 10-minute mark is when you start to really feel like Fnatic's going to start moving. Very hard to slow them down, but it's kind of like you said. If they don't have a really good early game, it's going to fall apart. Execration, they lock in their late game with a Terrorblade. There's no real counters towards the TB this game. So they know if they can drag it out, if they can just get some farm on Palos, eventually he is going to be a huge problem. I suppose you could still contest with the safe lane Tiny that we're looking at. We'll see. It's a very intriguing draft from Fnatic. I can't wait to see what they get done with it. But John, you tell me. Who do you think came out with the better draft for this game too?
I actually feel like Execration came out with a stronger draft. I like the Puck Sand King. I like the Mirana Sand King lane as well. The only answer Fnatic has early to deal with Palos and burst him down is really the Tiny. His burst damage is pretty good against Terrorblade, but it's a safe lane Tiny. So you're not expecting the Ags build up, the Blink build up early on. You might be able to just play with the IO relocate and burst down Palos if you have good vision. That can get the job done. But at some point, Palace is going to be too tanky to burst. And this is something you love to point out with Tiny. It has very tight timings for that burst window. And that does mean Fnatic has to play a much faster game. We've watched them over 3 games. The pacing has felt a bit slower. They need to kick it up a notch with its kind of draft. If they can get that done, they can potentially choke out Palace and just always hunt down that TB, prevent him from being big, and suddenly that big win condition starts to feel like it needs to play catch-up.
No, 100%. It's going to be a very interesting game to finish off Fnatic's night, and we'll see if they can at least get one victory going for themselves before the night does end. Execration, though, I'm sure they'd love a 2-0 victory here against Fnatic. Would make them feel very, very good going into the next day and even the next series, because they are up next again, John, Execration. They'll be playing against Motivate Trust in their second series of the night. So that'll be our last series after this one. Should be exciting in its own right. For now, though, Game 2 of Execration vs Fnatic just about to get underway. And I do kind of lean with what you were saying as well, by the way, John. I do feel like Execration has the much more solid draft. But it's really hard to tell, because if Fnatic play their cards right, they have one of those drafts that you just can't stop once it gets going. So we'll stop talking about the drafts. We'll see what happens in this game number 2. And I think Fnatic, they will be quite desperate for a win now. Never fun to have a night with no wins in Dota, John. As you and I would know, we don't win very often.
I was looking through my friends list, looking at a few of our a few players on hand. No one's had a good time with Dota recently.
No.
Surprisingly enough, Mike.
You know why, John?
No one.
Let me explain to you. Because these damn people keep playing Cavern Crawl in Ranked, and it's driving me bloody insane. You've got normal matches to play Cavern Crawl in, but these people keep choosing heroes they have no idea what they're doing with, and they keep losing. And they're always on my team, by the way, John. It's infuriating.
Yeah, is what happens. They have to deny this Obs ward up top. They do have the arrow ready. Raging not quite committing to the Burrow Strike, but they're going to be able to take off the ward. They've gotten the value already. They drop Obs as well, just in Sentry as well, just in case there's a counter ward. No scuffle over the runes itself, but they are cutting off the pathways of Fnatic here on Execration's end. Still wrap around for the top river rune as well.
I can still get a nice Burrow Strike into an arrow here. Raging, he does have the Burrow. There's your cold feet. Raven, he kind of went right back into it.
The battle begins.
Not sure where he thought they went, but it's not going to be a great start for Fnatic, and Execration naturally are going to feel very happy with that.
They get all bounty runes though, so I suppose that bonus gold for everyone feels fairly good. And Execration just kind of missing out even on just one, but killing off the Tiny is a pretty good start. And that's one thing we talked about. You could start with a tri-lane, go for the first blood. They're not even splitting up that tri-lane yet. They just have RR sitting up top, and yeah, they've got arrow ready, they've got Burrow Strike. It's not an easy time for Raven. He's a melee hero up here.
Well, preferably you'd rather kill Raven so he can't TP back and would have to walk back. But they are going to settle for DJ, who is there to kind of tank the gank. DJ, he'll have a TP back. It is going to allow Raven at least not to die a secondary time, because that would be a real disaster had he died and had to walk back as Tiny in the safe lane. Would have been terrible.
Yeah, and this lane is not going to get any easier as the levels go up, though. Like, you do have the IO Tiny combination, but you went for overcharge level 1 here on DJ, so he can maybe get some harassment off. It still doesn't feel amazing as levels go up for Raging, Sandstorm up, Caustic up. Tiny can't just sit back and clear the creep wave. It's going to feel really awkward. He's going to cop some hits. And of course, BDZ can just go for the arrow in the large camp, not blocked off. So this steady EXP gain is going to be there for our pause for Mirana, and there's not much an IO can do to really stop that.
No, absolutely not. So over in the mid lane, you've got Bob there against Chuan. Chuan and the Riki having a pretty decent time right now against Bob, but Bob's pretty much evening out in terms of CS. It's not too uneven. I'd say the Riki is still one of the stronger mid laners right now. Just has such nice base regen. You know, having a melee kind of core in the mid lane always is good, and he's got so many ways of avoiding getting hit by different spells. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Death does eat a Fairy Fire and is going to be able to survive on the Night Stalker, but it's going to be left on very low HP now. He's just going to have to try and eat some tangos to heal up. But it's not going to be the easiest lane in the world here for Death. He does have his support jabs coming back in, but it's not quite such an easy lane for him either.
Yeah, I mean the duo of Earth Spirit plus Night Stalker can get some work done, but it needs levels. Jabs especially needs to hit his level 2, level 3 spikes. And for the most part, Paulus is getting a decent amount of farm out here. He has a ton of denies, so the EXP gain is actually severely hampered for Fnatic, and that's just going to put a dent, especially for Det. Like, Night Stalker, ideally by the first nighttime, you're level 5, level 4 or 5. If that slows down, your farm slows down severely, your rotations probably not going to come out, and you just play a passive lane. Night Stalker does not want to be ultra passive early on, just gives way too much room out.
Well, they have found RR. Jabs, he is level 2, but doesn't decide to kick back RR. Rather just lets him go, and now uses the Boulder Smash. They'll go for the double slow, but Palace is going to move in with a reflection. They'll fight Death, and they're probably going to win as well. Death is going to drop Jabs. He will be the second casualty, and RR does survive. It's a bit desperate in the offlane right now, it looks like, for Fnatic. They're just trying to get the AA. He'll deny himself to the neutral camp, get a free reset for himself, and bring some items back to Palos. There's definitely a very poor start for Fnatic.
Not a great time. 4-0 start for Execration. A really good time for them to get this done. Jabs does make a rotation mid. Bob still manages to get his bounty rune though, but is copping hits. Will be forced to probably just go all the way back to the fountain, although BDZ...
Oh,
ooh,
roll.
nice block.
Yeah, that was a nice block. BDZ leaped right into Jabs, lands the arrow to boot. He has another lead charge. Jabs, he's going to try and get Bob, but Bob just avoids the Boulder Smash altogether. You did see Raging. He was getting a bit low at the top lane, but he also gets out with just no punishment. And it might go back to the draft. Just again, they need levels to really be effective. None of these lanes, though, are going very well right now for Fnatic, apart from maybe the mid lane where Chuan is top of the CS board, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's mainly because Chuan was left alone for pretty much 2 creep waves while Bob was playing tag for the bounty rune. So it is slowing down her puck just a bit more. He wants his level 6 fast, but even Ricky would say a level 6 spike. It doesn't feel outstandingly scary. You still need the items to flow in. The power treads, the Orb of Corrosion has to be up for Chuan before he's really effective in some rotations. And overall, I don't think it's a massive loss for Execration because of that aspect of the Ricky. They are still keeping track though. Chaps is kind of keeping eyes on mid, but doesn't really see the role potential. Like, without a value point in the smoke screen, Bob should still be able to escape even if the Earth Spirit fully commits for the control.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening right now. BDZ, he's going to cop some harassment here from TJ. Yeah, you overpower Io. I guess it does something. Bob. He's going to orb away. Jabs going to try and meet him there, but a nice waning rift away. Still, the Boulder Smash does connect, but it won't matter. Chuan, he's going to go for the Blink Strike. He's going to try for this. They have another orb up, though, on Bob. And he should just know Chuan. He can't get the vision. I thought he might go for another Blink Strike in. He didn't have the vision of the puck, though. Well, they do at least force Bob out of the lane, and this will allow even more farm and XP the way of Chuan. He's going to hit that level 6 mark now. But they just can't catch the puck quite yet.
Just too much mobility there. While they have the Earth Spirit mid, though, that has really slowed down on the Night Stalker. Still level 3 at first nighttime. Is going to hit his 4. Not quite the spike you're looking for, but they will still collapse towards bot. Try to catch Palos out. He does seem fairly aware, but he's still staying in that lane. If they get a good jump in, they could get a good kill, but it looks like Chuan's just walking away now. So not really getting that early rotation he wants on the Terrorblade.
Raging. Gonna start pulling the small camp. He's gonna have rotations coming in though. This is a very dangerous position here for Raging Potato. Jab's gonna try and punish Raging. He's quite tanky, and don't tell me there's no detection. There's one sentry. Raging, he is actually fine for now. He's gonna TP out, and he's gonna make it out.
What?
They had nothing to stop it. No avalanche, no roll, nothing. Oh boy.
That's dicey. And Fnatic has still not found a single kill on the board. Like, that would have been their first kill if they just hammered it in. It feels like Execration's just getting too much from each lane. Like, you might have a great time with Chuan, and he is at the point with Power Tread, saving up for the Orb of Corrosion. Almost at the point where he can get some side lane rotations out. you just have to wonder, are those side lane rotations going to work? Because Palos is pretty much free farmed. Raging Potato as well, it's pretty much free farm. And they're above in the CS compared to Chuan. And, oh, Chuan.
Oh, coils there onto the Ricky. They don't have the silence. Chuan should be able to get out of this. They did have the dust though, but he is going to be able to tricks off the orb. Now Death's going to rotate in. He does have the crippling fear. Roll in from Jabs. This should be the first kill and they get it.
Nothing.
Nice setup there from Fnatic. Takes them a rotation from Death, but it's something they desperately needed.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
At least get them started as RR is going to run right into Death. Palos is coming in from the backside. He has meta up. He might be trying to cut him off, and he does. Death, he can't actually get away from this. Oh, Palos, with the level 2 meta, just understanding how much damage he could pump out, does get the kill, and now just starts farming the die triangle. Raven almost drops apparently to Raging Potato. DJ is going to be there to heal him up, but there's really nothing Raven can do in this lane. Raging's just sitting there in Sandstorm. Chuan's showing up now. They do have a dust on DJ. They will pop it. Raging, how do you find yourself out of this one? He'll go for a Burrow. Back in onto DJ. He's going to go for the fight now. He almost gets him as well, but they do eventually kill him off.
Yeah, it's a good pick-off. They finally find something for Chuan to build off of, and they punish Raging for just being a bit too aggressive. They're still lagging a bit behind here, though. Like, they have to commit so many heroes to get one lane opened up. Big issue still lies here in that Palos is free farming, and the Tiny is not. So the farm difference between these two cores are pretty wide. 4.4k for Palos right now, 3.6k for Chuan, 3.4
Dire's
for
bottom tower
Raven.
is under attack.
And that doesn't bode well. Like, especially since you're running a pause 1 Tiny, Raven's still going to go for a blink because he needs to initiate with his team. That means Echo Saber is going to be a bit later, Ag Shard going to be a bit later. All the right-click items you tend to build are all going to be stalled out. He does have a jungle to play with, and that should help the cause just a bit, as Execration hasn't been able to really clear out the jungles just yet. So there's some catch-up farm to build into. It just, I don't know if it's enough. Like, your trade-off is that Palos is just left alone, and a Terrorblade left alone just gets way too big, way too fast.
That's kind of what I was about to bring up as well, right? Like, what's the plan here? Like, Palos is just freely farming. Yes, you're not at the stage yet from Fnatic where you can start going, but he's just free farming so well. Raging, he's going to be targeted again with the Avalanche Toss, but again, they're not going to have the damage. Chuan's going to jump in and try and help out, and they will finally get him down. Jabs now is also rotated on the Earth Spirit. They'll keep going. Even Death might show up with the Night Stalker now. Dream Coil gonna lock them down. Avalanche is there. Bob, he'll orb away. RR, he doesn't have an orb to get himself out. Jabs, he will try to roll forward, but BDZ is just gonna use his leap charge and get out. Meanwhile, Bob, though, they have the silence for the puck and they will be able to get him. So Fnatic, another successful rotation. They find 3 very nice kills for themselves. That's gonna be about enough. They'll have to back off and get back to the farm game. Meanwhile, Palos, he's been taking mid-tier 1 tower. He just went mid-tier 1.
Dire's middle tower is
Yeah.
under attack.
I mean, he can afford to. He knows the entire team was committed up top from Fnatic's end. They've still got Epicenter ready on Raging, and there's no Dark Ascension now. So the Night Stalker doesn't feel as scary. They just lose a tier 1 like
man.
that. All for the chase up top.
You're gonna ask yourself, is it worth now, right? Because that mid-tier 1's very valuable. They got a great team fight at top lane, but then Palos just freely takes mid. Just doesn't feel quite as good when you see that happen.
Definitely not. There's a big item spike here for Execration as well. They've got the blink up and Raging. They just immediately smoke up with Raging and BDZ. And with that blink initiation ready, they can just go on the hunt. They could find some pretty nice kills. If they catch, say, Chuan out or Death out, that could be big.
Yeah, Burrow strikes there. Arrow does land, and it looks like they are going to be able to get the Night Stalker. This might be one of those reasons why Night Stalker's just not very popular right now, is it's just so susceptible to dying, and
Bottom tower is
if
under
you get a
attack.
bad lane, it just feels so hard to come back from. Like, he's sitting at a 2.5k net worth. He's got no farming tools. Bob, he could be in danger. Smoke Screen gonna silence him up for a bit. Relocate was off the mark, but Bob's still gonna find a way out. Avalanche is there into the toss. They will get another kill onto Bob.
Matters not to me.
Still a very nice kill here.
It's an important one. They're slowing down Bob's timing, still trying to save up for the Witchblade. He has been buying space for the team. It looks like this is one of the things Execration does when they've got the Raging Potato Sand King. They prioritize his farm over their mid lane farm. So Raging gets more safe farm going for himself. He gets to build into what he needs. After the blink, he needs the Force Staff to get out that silence the Crippling Fear coming out from Death. And once you have at least one Force Staff, the Smokescreen and Crippling Fear don't feel as scary in terms of silencing tool. You can just kind of get out of them. And they're still getting this free space for Palos, although he is acting as bait up front.
He is. Chuan thinking about it. Does see Raging now, and they'll jump the Sand King instead. However, Sandstorm is there. Dust is going to fly out. Ice Blast, not going to matter. Another nice kill here from Fnatic. They don't bother trying to go after the Terrorblade as they knew Palos had the backup there from Raging. So they had to go for the Raging Potato first. But every kill that goes by, I still question whether it's going to be enough here from Fnatic. Like they've got the ball rolling. But you still look at Palos and you just wonder how they're going to deal with this Terrorblade later on.
Yeah, it's still the big concern of Fnatic. They have the blink up on Raven, so they might be able to get much more aggressive posturing with a relocate up as well. I think that's going to be what they have to play around with. This spike on the Tiny, he's super strong now. He can burst the back line. He can still probably burst down the Terrorblade. Not much stats up for Palos, although that will change once the Manta Style's up. On the side of Execration, they don't feel bothered. They still have a 4k lead despite all of that. The big difference is in how far ahead Palos is and how far behind Death is. Like, he has just not gotten any sort of items up on this Night Stalker. And
Burrow in, who they found. It's going to be Jabs. Ice Blast going to land on 2 as well. Oh, actually relocate, not going to be enough. DJ, he tried to help out with the Ice Blast. They already kill him off, and now Raven's gone. The Crippling Fear, maybe they could find Bob, but no, not quite. Dead. Death, he does barely get out thanks to the relocate of DJ. Still just one of those games you can get Raging, but you lose your pos one Tiny. Maybe you could rely on Chuan or the Ricky later on to kind of carry you through, but still don't think that really compares.
No. It really doesn't. The big issue with having your Ricky take the scaling condition here is that he doesn't benefit from your IO. Right, because your main damage output's going to be through Tricks. Tricks doesn't care about the added attack speed you get on the overcharge. And it just means a false 5 although with Death.
Crippling Fear is there in time, but Raging, he's on the mark with the Burrow Strike, and that'll mean BDZ's going to be on the mark with the Arrow. These are looking tougher and tougher as time goes on. 5k net worth lead now for Execration.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Raven, he's just going to spend some time to farm, I think, on this Tiny. You know, get that SNY up or whatever he really wants. I don't think they can... Yeah, I don't think they can go for the fight game anymore.
No. Like, the burst window is kind of gone. You can still kill supports, but it doesn't feel like that's just ever a worthwhile kill.
Oh, Epicenter's in. Raging. He gets the Burrow Strike as well. It's a lot of damage on Raven. They need a bit more, but the body blocks are there, and they get the kill. RR. He's the one to secure it with the Ice Blast. They may roll into Raging Potato and get the follow-up, but is it even going to matter? They'll get one. Jabs will try to go for a bit more. Death's in with the Crippling Fear as well. The Dream Core going to lock them both down. They might lose their AA, and they do, but that orb is going to do a lot of damage in Jabs. He might tick out with this urn. In fact, it looks like he is barely going to be able to survive. 50 HP. So they do get a 2-for-1 trade, but they've lost their pos 1 Tiny again. And look at the net worth on Palos, man. He's at 10k already.
Yeah, it's scary. He's inching towards the Scotty. He's almost got his first ultimate orb up. Then he has more stats. The burst is not going to scare him. I just don't know.
Mid lane?
Execration. Oh.
No, they got Bob. He tried to TP out, but Jabs is on the mark with the roll. Now,
Palos?
Crippling Fear out. Now, this will be a big one. They get Palos, tosses up. Palos needs the Sunder, but the silence is still there. It looks like he cannot get it off in time, or maybe he can. He will Sunder, but can he get out? He's all by himself. He actually kills off Death before he's going to die. Oh, they get the kill, though. That's all that really matters here for Fnatic. They get the kill.
Oh, man, it takes so much work, though. Like, it takes such big commitment out from Fnatic to kill off the Terrorblade. The burst damage just isn't there. The Manta dodge, just buying enough time with a Sunder. And you still feel good, right? Like, that's the big target we need Fnatic to kill off, but it just takes way too much commitment to kill him. And if you do it again, then that's where you really start to get the ball rolling. But I think next time around, Palos should be protected by his team.
Well, Fnatic, they might be onto something. This is allowing a bit more time for Raven now to catch up in that farm game, and you see him going for that SNY. Maybe they can ride the momentum here, Fnatic. So there's going to be a 4-man smoke in that mid lane. Maybe even a 5-man, as they do also bring Raven in. Oh, looks like they won't even bother smoking. Bob, roll is on the mark, and that'll be another nice kill for them. There you go, another roll from Jabs onto RR. Death should be able to catch up, and well, that'll be your AA gone. Nobody coming in to try and help out. Here you go, Fnatic, they're feeling it now.
What a surprise.
Yeah, you get the... They're starting to pile on the kills. They're really keeping Bob in check. And they should be able to transition to objective Palos.
Yeah, Palos just ran right past them. BD, or rather, Raging's going to jump in. Raven, though, he's got the toss up. They've got the smoke screen as well. It's still a lot of damage out. Palos, he will get the Sunder in time. Oh, no. Who did he Sunder?
Huh?
Did he Sunder Death? I think he may have just Sundered Death. He sundered somebody, but it wasn't DJ, I'll tell you that. BDZ, he is set to fall or not. Juan, he went in by himself. Now the dream call's there from Bob. They do lock down Raven. But Raging, he wants to go after the IO and he will not get him. I think he's Sundered Death.
Combat log.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense. That is nuts. If he got the right Sunder, they could fight although.
Yep. Epicenter's there. It's just for a DJ kill, but you know, you may as well take it.
A strange time to hibernate.
Yeah, that's a... I mean, it's a good pick off for Fnatic. They killed the Terrorblade, they sacrificed a couple of heroes. As long as they get that TB kill at this point, you're happy, and they're going to keep that aggression up.
Absolutely. Avalanche toss is there. BDZ doesn't really have a way out. He's going to drop it now. Palos is going to get rolled on here by Jabs, who does hold them back as RR is just being chased down by Death. They will get another kill, but now Bob's going to try and punish. Meanwhile, on the right side, they do get Jabs, and Death does indeed end up going down. So was it really worth? Probably not.
No, when you trade like that, definitely not. You're giving Palos a couple of kills. He gets to start building up despite those losses. He's still trying to inch towards the Scotty, and that's going to be the breaking point here for Fnatic. The Scotty's just going to hold back all the regen they have coming out from DJ, which is already complicated by the Ice Blast anyway. So you're not going to get as much durability out with your IO combo. For Fnatic's part, I think they just need to keep running like that. They need to keep forcing the issue, keep catching out Palos, try to kill the Terrorblade, try to kill Bob's Puck as well, and keep them down for as long as possible to build up on your Tiny, to build up on your Ricky, and you just get rolling from there. Once the BKB start to come out here on Fnatic's end, it feels a lot better in the front line. You don't need to worry much about the Puck. You don't need to worry much about the Sand King. Execration, though, they're going to smoke up. They've got the Moonlight as well.
Absolutely. DD Rune bottled up with Palos Death. He's going to run right into them. I suppose at least he breaks the smoke. But now I think you just go Roshan, right? If you're Execration with the DD Rune with the meta Terrorblade, you just rush the pit.
Yeah, you're in. Palos, he can get to work by himself. The rest of the team just scouting outside. They could find a pick off from DJ if they actually want to commit. We did see him. Raging. Oh, he missed.
It don't really matter though. I mean, Execration, they got what they wanted. I think you get the Aegis, you got a death kill.
Oh, look at that. Grove Bow as well.
Oh,
nice.
Incredible.
Last item to drop.
Who takes it though? I mean, who are you giving it to? Do you want to give it a Bob? Like, he kind of likes the int on the Arcane Ring, so I think he'd rather keep that. And Raven, excuse me, Palos, it seems like he does want the Imclaw instead.
Fair enough. The damage is pretty darn good. You'd rather go that route. They do at least have that second life now in Palos. Fnatic, for their part, there is some scaling coming through. Raven has overtaken Bob by about 1,000 gold. So your Tiny is starting to get some more up. And it looks like Fnatic are going to go for a smoke play. They do have the Dark Ascension if needed. They get a good flank here. They can maybe kill off Palos twice over. They just need to find that angle. Top tier 2 under pressure. Fnatic not set up for a trade. Need to take this fight.
That they do, John, but they are quite far away here. Fnatic, they're going to make their way over. They're going to try and sneak up from the backside again. No matter up, so this should be a decent fight as Bob, he has been caught out. That's a nice way to start, but the 4-staff's there, but it won't be enough. Roll in now, they want a bit more. Palos, he gets caught. Burrow strike out from Raging. Arrow was there as well. They got jabs down, but they're going to lose RR on the AA. Now Chuan moving in, tricks the trade out. They have got BDZ to boot. A nice team fight so far for Fnatic as they want Raging as well. Silence is going to wear off though, but he has no Burrow strike, which will mean this is going to be the 4th kill out for Fnatic. And that's the thing, right? Like, if they get the right target at the start of the fight, it seems like they could do themselves a pretty good job in these team fights. But they've got to start with the right target. And they've also got to make sure that you don't have things like the meta up on Palos.
Yeah, Palos has to be a bit cautious by himself. Doesn't have his team to back him up. I think you need a protective item now in Bob. He's just died way too many times.
Nice pass. Yeah, it's going to connect Palos. He could pop the meta if he really wants to, but he's holding out. So the rest of Fnatic are around the area. He still has the Aegis on the TB, don't forget. So jabs might just be dead, but no, they don't get him. Instead, they go for the Dream Call onto the 3 on the high ground. RR, he's actually going to die to Chuan. Meanwhile, though, Palos, he does get DJ, and it's onto Raven now. They want that Pos 1 Tiny, and they're probably going to be able to find him as well as Raven. He's trying to run. They will get him in the nick of time. Chuan still cleaning up the backside, though, does get BDZ, but now you've got the reflection there. They've got the dust out as well on Chuan. He will pop the BKB. Is it going to help, though? Tricks the trade down to the low ground. Bob, he's going to chase him down, and they still should have the damage. Smoke screen is there, but they have enough. Every time that meta's up, the team fight just doesn't feel possible for Fnatic. They've just got to fight when it's down.
Yeah, they have to force those engagements when it's down. And that's the times we see Fnatic win, and when they jump Bob first. And Bob's a bit more hard to catch out with a 4-staff and Blink, though. He is rushing the Ags next. So those BKBs we saw coming out from Fnatic, not going to feel great once that item's up on our puck. And Execration, they get back an 8k lead. They drop it a bit in those early engagements. They drag it back. They go high ground. Palos just melts the objectives. That's a tier 3 done. They're probably not going to commit to the racks, but just having a lane that Fnatic now needs to keep in check means that they've got a little bit less headway to make these plays.
On to the IO. Bob, he's found another target. They'll get him. DJ, gonna drop. No Ice Blast necessary. I suppose now, I mean, there's only one outer tower left. You've still got some time on the Aegis to go for Palos. You supposedly just start going for that bot tier 2. I mean, what else do you go for here?
Yeah, they don't really have any objectives left to take, although Raging.
Well, they find Raven. He's a bit early with the Burrow Strike, but Palos is still going to rush in. They might be able to just get jabs instead. He tries to roll away. It's just not going to work out. And you know what? Forget the pot tier 2, John. Mid-racks is the objective.
Yeah. I mean, they've still got the Aegis for half a minute. Fnatic, they just can't stop that push. They just lose too much, and Palos is actually going to go all the way. He's going to go for top as well.
He still has the Aegis, and he has meta up in about 15 seconds. There's really not much in the way of stopping him right now, until that Aegis is at least gone. You might be able to blow him up for the Aegis, but that's about all you're going to get. He's out. In fact, they salve him up, he might go back in. Burrow Strike's there, they found death. Ice Blast and Arrow are kind of off the mark, and Aegis has now expired. Execration, do you want to keep going? With the meta up? Yeah, they definitely do. Why not get a secondary Rax? Fnatic, they know they can't fight. Not right now. Sleeping Dart, though. It's only going to delay things. They're going to smoke and try to go into the back lines. Seems like they really want to prioritize getting Bob. Crippling Fear. It's going to be a great Crippling Fear there from Death. But they force Staff out. They at least do get the AA. They're still going to try for Bob, and they might just get him in time. He does indeed end up dropping as another Sleeping Dart is going to hold back Palos. They'll keep going for the other teammates, but Raging. He's there with the Burrow Strike onto 2. DJ going to try and run away as Palos. He'll get started onto Jabs instead on the Earth Spirit. They might be able to get him. Meanwhile, BDZ though, he does die to Raven. Still Death moving forward onto Bob, who just fought back, but he's gonna die in the puck. Still the Burrow Strike is there from Raging once again, but Palos, he's run out of the meta. They need to lead this team fight. Fnatic, they might be able to fully clean them up. Palos is still around. He's gone. There's no way to survive here for Palos. And Bob, that's a big dieback. That is going to give time for Fnatic to at least get some objectives going.
Yeah, that's a big win. They do lose out in 2 racks, so they have to watch their tier 4s. Fortify popped early just to ensure that the creep wave can go in, and they can afford to do that because they still have 2 tier 1s. So the Fortify is just going to refresh before anything major happens. Fnatic, they found a top tier 1, not a big objective to take just yet. And they seem to be aware as to where Death's at. He's sneaking through.
What's he up to, John? What's the game plan here for Death? Like, what, are they going to push to tier 3s and he's going to come in from behind? No way.
I thought maybe he was looking for a soft support or a courier to kill off. No such thing. The mid tier 1 is going to fall. Fortify was refreshed. And it's going to get refreshed again because tier 1 dies. They have narrowed the lead here. Fnatic has dropped it to a 3k lead on Execration's part. Execration, they need to be careful about overcommitting. Again, Bob with no defensive items beyond 4 staff. It's not great when he gets caught out. I don't even think the Ags is necessary. Just go BKB or Aeon Disc. Yeah. Probably BKB is the better choice. Just protect yourself so you can use your spells and you can kind of go back into these fights. Fnatic, they need to get a little bit more, but...
Death. Oh, they've caught up the Night Stalker. That'll be the Ice Blast in, and they'll get the Night Stalker down. Execration. They're still in the lead in this game. I mean, they're 2 racks up. They've got a bot tier 2 to play for before they can go high ground again. But you know Execration. They're going to want the next Roshan, which is going to be up in 2 minutes. So no real rush for them. They have plenty of time to set up. Raging, though.
Raging.
Could find a very nice setup onto Chuan. The roll is actually going to be there on the Sand King. Chuan's going to BKB and try to run here. He does get the Sleeping Dart off. Onto Palos. Just hold the Terrorblade back. And that will force out the buyback there from Death. It's Execration. I mean, if they've used meta, they might want to try and still find something out of this. That's why they've smoked up, but I just don't know where they're going to go and what they're going to find.
They just don't have any objectives to play for. Maybe if they catch out, say, Death, get that die back here.
Oh, Raging. Gonna go with the DJ. They've at least got the IO. It's something. Raging, he gets put to sleep by the Sleeping Dart, but there's gonna be no follow-up to it. He's alright. Looks like that's gonna be about it, because the meta is just about to wear off.
A good timing from Execration. Fnatic, they get some time to clear out camps, go outside, de-shove the waves onto the other end, and try to keep building up. They are still trying to catch up on Raven. I don't like this farm split, although...
Nice Sleeping Dart. I mean, yeah, they're not really going to capitalize. That's the problem, right? Like, it's not one of those Ricky games where you can just jump in and kill somebody by yourself. Unfortunately for Chuan, it's one of those more, you know, you've got to work with your team as this Ricky.
They still need a lot of farm to come in for Raven. Like, he is only about 3k behind Palos' TB. He does have the Moon Shard up, so he's got some extra night vision and good attack speed to play with. He needs a Daedalus. You're just not getting enough damage output here on Raven. He is getting the BKB first, which is very important against the Dream Coil, against the control. The damage coming through from Raging is going to be nullified, so that's going to be very big for him. And they will smoke up right now.
Oh, nice blink away from Raging. That arrow basically going to scout out the whole side of Fnatic as well. In the end, Raven, he does go for a BKB, but there's an Ags up now on Palos, so he's going to have that meta up. Oh, they found a massive target. Raven, he's going to try and BKB and survive through this. He'll be okay, it looks like. Death, meanwhile, on the backside is going to go after RR. But there's your Terror Wave out. Palos, he's just going to go straight in for that Night Stalker. That'll be a dieback. Still, Raven is in trouble. He is getting very, very low and looks like he is set to fall and does.
No buyback.
They don't have buybacks. This game is well and truly over now. I don't see how you even hold them down. Bob, he'll keep going after DJ. The Glimmer Cape is going to save, but you just go after tier 4s now.
Yeah. They've got the full meta up on Palos. Tower's not going to hold. Two-man defense has to come out for at least half a minute. It's nearly impossible for Fnatic. Maybe if they do something flashy, but I don't know what a Ricky Io does in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, you Sleeping Dart, that's about all you can do. Burrow Strike gonna force out the BKB. Chuan might be able to get a kill onto Raging, but the 4-star is there. He will Blink Strike in, but that's gonna cost him his own life. And he won't have buyback either. So, I mean, the game, unless DJ can do something on this IO, is over. They are gonna call the GG. Because apparently the game just completely starts lagging on me as well. So good timing for Execration. That'll be another 2-0 victory, John. Fnatic, unfortunately, going completely defeated today.
Yeah, it's been a rough time for Fnatic. They haven't been able to really perform up to the mark that we expected them to coming out of the qualifiers, coming out from the first game they played in group stage where it looked amazing. This could be down to the factors that, again, we saw Boom tweet out that they were supposed to have FBZ loaned to Fnatic for today. They changed their minds. Maybe there's a factor there. Maybe some, maybe there's some wariness coming out from Fnatic. Yeah. Execration, not to take away from that win, they play spectacularly well. They get the Bob puck. Palos just performs on his core role, and they get the specials on Raging Potato. The bugs came out in both games. You can't afford to give Execration both of those bugs. They just know how to play around a Sand King. They know how to play around Brood very well. And I think a lot of teams have to be ready to just prioritize the Raging Potato bans in the draft. Like, if they don't, then it just slides through and you have to deal with it. And Raging's a beast when he plays the Sand King and Broodmother.
100% agree. We are going to head to a break now, though. We are going to go into our final series. It is going to be Motivate Trust against Execration to finish us off. I believe it is going to be roughly 15-20 minutes before we do get into our final series, so it might be a bit of a tiny bit more longer break, but we'll be back hopefully ASAP to see how our last series does pan out.